So let's see. Got any other questions in there?
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. Got a couple people watching. So I guess one of the topics we were talking about covering a little bit too is kind of TRT plus and TRT add-ons, and the dark side of optimization and how things can kind of slip the wrong way. I had an interesting I had another provider kind of reach out to me for some advice. Said they had a patient of theirs they had for maybe, I forget how long it was for. It wasn't very long, but reached out and said they wanted to try their hand at bodybuilding. There wasn't something they were doing before. They were working out, doing some other sports, and now this guy wants to said he wanted to use Anavar and Nandrolone along with his testosterone. And he said, "Hey, I'm just being, straight with you here. Since you're my provider, I trust you. And what do you think?" So, this provider contacted me and said, "Hey, what do you do in this situation?" He's a nice guy. I'm glad that he's being honest with me. I'm glad he's being straight. And, I'd like to keep caring for him, but I also don't want to condone this and suggest that he does this. I'm sure not going to prescribe it for him. So I thought that was an interesting take. So I gave some advice back, but what's your what's your take on that?
What was your advice?
So my advice was, I don't believe in health criminals in other parts of medicine, or we don't treat other people like health criminals. So if someone comes to me and they tell me they're drinking too much alcohol, they're doing, whatever, they're smoking meth, they're shooting fentanyl, do I just say, "Oh, sorry, you can't tell me about this. You're fired. You're not my patient anymore"? So why would I do that to this guy? Right? I mean, I'm not going to coach him on doing it. No, man, you're doing it wrong. Here's how you do it. And we're going to run through it. I'm not going to give you that kind of advice, but I'm going to, as safe as you can be without hurting yourself.
Yeah.
And again, I'm going to say, I don't want you, not the best idea, but yeah, say health criminal shouldn't be a thing.
That's pretty much how I would have approached it too. I think we're all adults here, and we're all old enough to make the decisions that we should be able to make. And I think if somebody makes a conscious decision and that's the realm they want to go in, I certainly think they should know the risks associated for that. But I'm certainly also not going to try and badmouth them or talk down to them for wanting to make a decision for themselves. Mm-hmm. And really, I would just list out, here's the pros, here's the cons. You have to decide if that's worth it for you at this stage of life. And again, I'm not going to offer advice or coach or whatever, because that's not really what we're focusing on here. Specifically in our clinic, we're more focused on your health span as a whole. Some of those other anabolics can get you in a little bit of hot water, but if you're willing to shoulder some of that risk and you know what they are, and that's fine, then hey, go for it. We're not gonna, and the same thing here is we just want people to be honest. That's it, because here's the thing: if you're not, we're gonna find out anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it just gets tricky, right?
Open.
Yeah, your labs come back and your HDL is shot to crap. Your SHBG and your HDL are both single digits, and you're like, "No, I'm not doing anything." Like, come on, man.
Yep.
I know, it was
be straight with me.
Yep.
Yeah. So my kind of discussion is say if that patient was with me, I kind of tell them look, I don't care what you do with your body, it's your body, and what I kind of get all right, what are your goals with this? If it's purely aesthetic, then it's all right, well, do your time. I can do some risk mitigation stuff, watch your lipids, help you with blood pressure, but I'm not going to prescribe you testosterone to go along with it, because now that's my name on, a controlled substance, and you're actively harming yourself. And, my kind of speech a lot of times is if you're not putting food on the table for your family with your body or anything, it's just not worth the risk. In terms of worsen endothelial function, worsen just cardiovascular outcomes, the orals can be hard on your liver, and so it's just not longevity promoting at the end of the day. And so that's really what I'm focusing on is all right, look, I just want to hit everything as much as I can with you to get you to functioning well into your 80s, 90s, triple digits, and you're still functional, healthy, and happy. And these are just going to be they're just not health promoting. And so, and I used to offer more risk mitigation but it just kind of is like, man, I just, from a medical legal aspect, I just was like, I think that just kind of sets me up for a target. So it's kind of like, it's been something that I've struggled with. Is like, all right, do I just let them free ball it themselves out there and, let their blood pressure run out of steam, let their lipids go crazy, and then they come back in 2 to 3 years and they're like, all right, I had my fun, I want to get back into it healthily. Well, now I'm 2 years behind, or now I'm really needing to get echoes to check out their heart and other much deeper workup and stuff. And so, like, should I just help them mitigate it at the beginning? I don't know. For the most part, I've just said, hey, I'm not going to be your provider with this. Go do what you want. And then once you're ready to throw in the towel and do things healthily and back to lifespan promoting, then I'll kind of take back over. But right now, what you're doing is not what I would feel beneficial for your long-term health, and come back whenever it's appropriate.
Yeah, so you're saying you discharge the patient and say, hey, come back when you're done with this nonsense?
Yeah, and that's what that's kind of is like. But how much negative effect do I let them go? And then do I accept them back at the end now that they're an unhealthier version of themselves? So that's somewhat of a thing that I've struggled with. But for the most part, they don't come back anyways. Truthfully,
Sure.
They're like, I'm just gonna go do this, and we've left amicably several times. I just was like, thanks for telling me. I don't want to be. I'm not going to be prescribing this to you while you're doing it, while you're going off the rails, especially if they want to touch trend. That's the kind of one. It's like, look, you're just actively, yeah.
What's wrong with trend?
Yeah. It just hits every body system negatively. Like, for the most part, I can see low dose nandrolone. Oxandrone's pretty mild. Like, I can see those in the realm of things and somewhat responsibly, but tren, there's no responsible dosing. It's hard on kidneys, liver. It crosses the blood-brain barrier, so it makes you crazy. You can't sleep good.
Yeah, but it makes you swole AF.
And to their defense, it's the best at cutting and bulking at the same time, which doesn't even sound physiologically possible. So, I mean, I see the appeal, but from a medical management aspect, it's like, we can't. If you're not going to drop this, I have to drop you as a patient.
Yeah, I kind of want to prescribe it just for the SIG. Right, it would be titrate to felony or divorce, and then decreased by 10%.
That's pretty much it.
Decreased by 10%.
And then that's it. There's your dose. How do I find my dose for
felony,
trend?
Divorce, or interactions with a tranny.
Oh yeah.
That's
yeah,
probably up.
Depends,
probably
sure.
up there with that too.
Yeah, too many gay thoughts.
Yeah, all good stuff. The compounding pharmacies don't have that yet. No trend on their formulary.
No trend on
Not yet. No, but it's a little slippery though too, Mason. You said too. You say, oh, maybe a little nandrolone, maybe a little, oxandrolone. Maybe my joints hurt a little bit, and this kind of thing. The second part of the advice I gave that provider too was, you just told me this guy is new to bodybuilding and he's going to try this thing out, and he was doing some previous sports stuff, but not. Great point. How about maybe you don't need this yet? You're already on TRT.
Right. I would say just start with a regular thing of testosterone and really just dial in diet and the gym work first, because that's exactly. Really, that should always preclude any anabolic.
Sure. Yeah. Milk that for as long as you can. Let's talk maybe you don't need to talk in 5 years from now. Maybe now you're like, hey, I'm thinking about taking this to the next level. And like Mason said, now you're actually good at it. You have great genetics for it. You're thinking about making a career out of it. Now maybe some of the risk makes a little more sense to you, and it's still, it's still a slippery thing. But to jump right in and say, hey, I woke up today and decided being a bodybuilder sounds cool, so I want to add all this extra crap. I don't know.
I wouldn't even consider in terms of bodybuilding. I wouldn't even consider potentially having an add-on unless you're over 400 to 600 milligrams of testosterone first. Then that would be like where you start to consider other other options at that point. But if you're going to get into that.
Yeah,
Right,
and I
right.
think I think Mike is just hitting the nail, just nailing it. Is just like people are not patient enough. You know, like
Yeah.
if and I've seen this so many times. Like now, numerous guys have come to me to where they had just started going to the gym, and then someone at the gym says, "Oh, here, take this," and it's 500 of testosterone, and then they're like, you should do this on the side too, and then it's like nandrolone, and then it's like, hey, just run a baby dose of tren, and it's like 100 milligrams on top of it. They're like, they're brand new to working out, and now they're on 800 milligram weekly total of anabolics, and then they're like, here's some cabergoline for so that
For your
trend
prolactin,
doesn't
it's
so your trend
running
doesn't
them
throw
up.
your prolactin.
Yeah, I
And
have
it's like,
no idea what works training or diet wise,
nope, they never even gave it a chance, and
because
then
you're gonna
an
grow.
injury
You're
happened.
gonna grow if you're pushing a gram of
Oh my, yeah.
crap. Something's gonna
You'll
happen.
grow even doing nothing. Like you don't even have to work out to grow on that amount. I mean,
Yeah,
we
but at that
have
point,
the,
it's just silly, right? You're trading all that health downsides. You're not even getting the most out of it that you could. So
yeah. What was the dose dependency at 600 milligrams of testosterone? It was something like 17 pounds in 20 weeks. No working out.
Yeah, and like like it was a short study, but for the most part, their stuff didn't go too out of whack.
No.
What you would expect.
No, but all they used was test. That was it. There was no other.
Right.
There was no other additional compounds. So, I truly think that test can be a kind of interest because there's really no long-term study on high dose just testosterone.
Yeah.
no, how long did they go on those? Was it 16 weeks or something like that?
Yeah.
The Sin
15
study was 20 weeks.
20 weeks.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
There's
I
like
thought it
a
was-
it was 20.
like a 150, 300, and 600, something like
His
that. Or maybe a 125.
2001 study on the dose dependency in terms of lean mass proliferation with the 5 groups, the 25 to 50, the 125 to 300, and the 600 was a 20-week study.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, but again, silly to. I mean, you're not getting. Check all the boxes. Do one thing from every column. You're training right. You're eating right. Maybe you get more. You might get the same as you're going to get with less than 200 milligrams of test doing all those other things, right? You don't need
so
all those extra
interestingly enough, with that study, the sweet spot in terms of actually getting like mass per milligram of testosterone was between 125 and probably about 200 milligrams. That was like the most percentage jump was from like 50 to 125. And then it didn't really follow a linear progression. There's actually diminishing returns, meaning the farther out you go from that point, the less mass you get per milligram. So, so it doesn't just continue to stack in a same line. It kind of tapers off. So,
Yeah, interesting.
got a
You know,
couple
I-
questions here.
Yeah, we do. Let's see. What's
I was
the
going to
first
ask y'all one more before we kind of jump in TRT plus. Where's that line? What's now considered sport TRT or TRT plus to y'all?
I mean, in my opinion, TRT is really just achieving values that are physiologic or slightly super physiologic on the scales that we have. Okay, to achieve symptom resolution and hopefully body composition changes over time with work, with diet, with exercise, and that's that. And generally speaking, that tends to be under 200 milligrams per week. Not for everybody. I got a guy here that's on 270 milligrams a week. He's also like 6'6". Like he's a big
Just
dude.
soaks it up.
Yeah, he's just a bigger guy, right? His overall mass is more than somebody that's like 5'8", right? So, where the guy that's 5'8" is probably on 120 to maybe 140 milligrams a week. That guy's on 270, but he's literally like almost double the size in terms of weight than the other guy. So he takes more testosterone. But interestingly enough, our free Ts are very similar, which is really what we're looking for. So.
Yeah, I think free teas start getting too high. I always say, I know maybe my range runs a little higher than yours, than you guys talk about too. But I think most guys feel best between free tea of 20 nanograms per deciliter and 40 nanograms per deciliter. If you're getting over 40 and you're still not feeling symptom relief, there's probably something else going on.
I would agree.
Most guys don't need to live at 40, and a lot of them won't even like the way they feel at 40. But to me, there's starting to be a line there too. It's like, if you're not feeling good here, there's probably something else going on. You're not.
Yep.
Something else we need to dig into, or something. Yeah, something's not testosterone related.
That's where we pretty much run most of our guys. I'd say between 20 and 40.
Yeah.
So, did you see that that post that just came across the TRT? It was Keith talking about free testosterone ranges.
I did. I didn't watch the whole thing, so I just saw it come out.
I thought it was interesting. So he brought up a good point, and I don't think I ever really put too much credence on it because I don't really follow the ranges anyway. But LabCorp and Quest, their values for free testosterone are completely arbitrary. They made them up. They're just like, fucking, it's this number and it's this number, and that's it. Which I thought was crazy that's the case. And then he actually brought in some data that did look at free testosterone, and I thought this was interesting. So we're saying 20 to 40, whereas in like LabCorp probably, or Quest, I think, I can tell you what Quest shuts off at, because that's where we get almost all of our labs done for our patients. So Quest's free testosterone, now it's going to be in picograms per milliliter. A normal free T is 46 to 224 picograms. So 4.6 to 22.4 nanograms. And
wow,
and
4.6 is so low.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Can you imagine trying to walk around at 4.6 nanograms per deciliter? You'd be a zombie. You'd be dead.
Yeah.
There's no way. So I just think it's ridiculous that that's considered normal, right? And what he said, he brought in a study that looked at, I think it was around 150 guys aged 18 to 39. It's a little bit of guys that are older. And what they found is in the 18 to 39 group, the high level of free testosterone, I think, was around 36 nanograms per deciliter. And in the all group, which extended the age out to everybody, it was about 30 nanograms per deciliter. So that 20 to 40 range, that's literally right there in line with what that study showed. And that, mind you, was natural values, not on replacement therapy.
That's wild.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting, because here we're going to be off the charts on almost all of these other lab results. So when people see that and they go, "Oh, it's too high." Is it really too high? Because it doesn't match, and they just sort of made up those numbers. They're not really following any criteria as to like, hey, this is what that is. And this is why I tell people, when you get lab work, context matters. It doesn't matter if it's outside of a range. Sometimes that range is arbitrary. And in the case of LabCorp and Quest, it 100% is arbitrary. There's nothing behind it. So,
see, I don't even know what LabCorp is, because I just get a total and a SHBG and calculate it.
We do the same, but I get it free because we don't have the option of getting
it
automatically adds it in. So like I get it anyway, but I don't use it. We calculate our own, but it always pops up.
Well, then if you get the wrong assay too, or if someone comes to you with a different one too, some of them they actually just calculate it too, and they use an assumed SHBG of like 35 or something. They just assume you have an average SHBG, which is
that's that direct.
Worse than useless. Like what are you doing here? So it just doesn't make any sense. You do the calculation yourself; it's nowhere near it.
Correct.
And then it's just confusing for everyone. It's stupid. So it's just It's
and then
silly.
it comes back to like how do they get these reference lab these lab ranges to begin with? Through the population that they deem healthy, and do you want your labs to be the standard American range, or are you okay running
do you
higher?
want to be the average guy anyway, right?
No.
Yeah But yeah, that video that clip is part of a bigger video that Dr. Nichols put out. It's I don't know if it's like 3 or 4 hours. I was
gonna say it's 4 hours. So
yeah, it's big. I've been watching little bits of it at a time, just little chunks.
It's a little much. He should have broke that video up. It's too much in 4 hours. Like, it should have been like 30 minutes, and like broke it into sections.
And I would watch it. I would watch it that way, but 4 hours I've just kind of
yeah.
skipped over it. Like I don't know when.
That's what I mean. I think it would have been better if he would have split it into 30-minute sections, and like I think it would have caught more attention span because, like you said, 4 hours. You're like,
Yeah, well, I think that's what he's doing though too, putting out the short clips of it.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
and it
Pretty good
definitely is
stuff.
more of a lecture style video, so it's not going to be as catchy, and I think it's like we might watch it. Like I think your general public people are going to be like, this is really boring.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably watch it at some point. Yeah, while I'm tractoring and blading my roads, I'll probably put it on in the background.
Blading your roads, got them dirt roads. You got to keep them potholes at bay.
Yep, the cows they trample after it rains. I gotta blade the roads, make sure I don't twist my ankle walking out there. It's super relaxing.
Cattle?
Yeah, it's
Okay, I thought you did. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, that's my Sunday evening podcast mental recovery time.
Wow.
Blading my
pretty good.
roads.
Yeah.
How many cattle do you have?
I got a couple longhorn, and right now my dad has about 9 on the place. He was spraying his place for weeds, and so he brought his over, and then I don't have a bull, so his bull breeds mine back, and then he'll take them back.
Do you raise them for meat?
We'll do a couple, but for the most part, like the longhorns, you don't really eat them.
Right, they're more for like vanity pets. Yeah,
they're pretty much pets
Yeah.
because they just don't have a lot of meat on them.
right.
But they are super hardy. Like I don't have to worry about them dying on me or anything. And here, we typically do the black Brangus because they will survive a little bit better in this heat and dry and everything. But
We don't have cattle, but I mean, like I live within 30 seconds of at least 3 cattle farms. So
Nice.
yeah, so like actually a lady down the road from me actually has Texas Longhorns. She has a mixed flock. So and they're all hobby. Like there's nothing in her 20 acres that she's going to eat. She's got 2 Longhorns, and she has a donkey, which I love the donkey, and she has 2 horses. And so like
Nice.
they'll just be zipping around. You'll catch them every now and then.
Nice.
yeah.
My neighbor has a cat. The other one has a dog. Real city,
Solid.
real city folks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one of my neighbors had some chickens, but they
We have
no
those
more
too.
chickens.
Chickens are great. Mason has tortoises.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And chickens and turkeys and
Got it
guineas
all,
and a
man.
goat.
yeah, that's cool.
You got
man.
the true farming experience.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
That's my weekend. Well, really, it's more work on the weekend, but it's work that I like to do.
Yeah, for sure. It's
Good
wholesome work.
cardio. You know, you talked about you listen to a podcast while you do your work. I did something today when I worked out, when I lifted today. I did with no music and no podcast. It's something
Raw dogged it.
for years. I didn't listen to music at all, probably for like 20 years. And then it started to get easier to listen to podcasts and shows and do all that kind of crap. And then I listen to a podcast in the background. But it's easy to get distracted. Then you're fiddling around, you're looking something up, you're pausing something, you're paying attention to the music instead of the workout. So today I just did it just in silence. It was awesome, man. It was like a throwback to the way it's supposed to be. It was a nice hot day out in the gym.
Welcome to the dark side. That's how I work out every time. No music,
Yeah.
no headphones, no nothing. I'm like the weirdest person at the gym because I don't have the big clamshell on my head, and I'm just there to get down to business.
Yeah, I never did
time.
that at the gym too. And now I work out in my garage. But even when I went to the gym, I never brought anything with me. I just like hearing some weights clanging around, maybe
Yep.
some birds outside, and you're just taking care of business. It's pretty good. I'm gonna maybe just start doing more of that. It's good. It's good for the head too. A little time to just some other thoughts pop in your head, work some things out.
That's
Good
right.
Good therapy session.
100%.
Where do you want your psych referrals, you maniacs? I'll send it
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, and it was it was a little hot out too, so a little minor hallucinating out there too. It was 108
Yeah.
degrees outside, so it was about 100 in the garage. It was good. Zero warm up time needed. It was pretty good. Pretty sweet.
Nice.
Not bad.
yeah.
Not bad. So we got some other questions in here, huh? Let's see what we have here. Question from Hugh. It says, if you have time, I'd like to get you all's thoughts on long-term low-dose Masteron as a TRT adjunct. If blood markers look good, can it be run nonstop or possibly only cycle off once a year? Possibly only cycle off once a year. At first I read that as like, oh, add it in once a year. Yeah, it's you're kind of rolling the dice a little bit there. I mean, is a little gonna do something bad to you? It's sure gonna screw up your lipids. I mean, you're asking if your blood markers look good. I kind of doubt they will. I think any kind of long-term use of that's gonna jack up your HDL or crank it down. You got some pretty ugly looking lipids there.
You'll have a really increased LDL as well. All the DH derivatives do that. The orals especially, but all of them, even the injectables, do that as well.
Yeah. You could even get into a little bit of trouble with, suppressing estrogen too much. I mean, you want to have some estrogen running too. I mean, unless you're talking about now, you're also pushing testosterone doses higher, and then there's more, Masteron in there on top of that. It gets a little bit tricky, man. I don't know. I think the idea of cycling it off. Again,
doesn't Masteron also
advice,
bind to the estrogen receptor?
There's some debate back and forth about whether it really,
Right.
if it really kind of blocks it in some way too, and acts like a mild AI.
Right. I
It's
heard
kind of
that.
like in the bodybuilding community talk about with that and with Primobalin too, and some people say no, it works like that. No, it doesn't. Half of that's probably because people don't really know what they're getting half the time. Like maybe.
It's very true because there's no actual compounding source for those two steroids in the United States. They all come from overseas, and who the hell knows where they come from? Dragon Pharmaceuticals.
Right. I think that's one of the old timey ones. Yes. Oh man, I don't know. The idea of staying on something like that most of the time, then just coming off a little bit once of the year, maybe. I don't know.
I think if you're considering trying to run a low dose anabolic, you can achieve the same thing on just testosterone. It really no point. So.
Yeah, probably. And then if you're going to run, again, not advice to run your testosterone higher, but probably you start there too. And maybe that's what he's doing, on top of this too. Yeah, but be careful, man, because not all things show up on blood markers too. Right, it could be some longer term stuff there. So be safe with that.
Yeah, I mean, it was first made for breast cancer, so I think there's something with the anti-estrogen component with it. But yeah, the DHT derivatives are going to drive down the HDL and everything.
Yeah. Sorry, Mason. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're good.
And he said mainly for mood, energy, libido. I don't really see it actually increase mood, libido, or energy from using a secondary anabolic, specifically a DHT derivative. I know people are like, oh, it's a DHT derivative. It'll make your libido better. Don't see it in anyone. So because it's not actual DHT, remember, it's DHT-like, but I don't really see the massive libido spike in people that have used that. Before. Some people will tell you that it does. I think largely it's probably placebo with that. So,
it's not terribly anabolic too. They say,
right?
Masteron itself is pretty mild. Like Mason said too, was originally, made for women. So they're like, hey, we want to give them some support here, but we don't want it to be grossly anabolic. So anything that doesn't aromatize, because that's where you get some of the goodness for hypertrophy anyway.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it might be more of a body composition tuning tool, if anything. And in that case, maybe it's not, maybe you flip that script and you're something you're maybe carefully talking about for part of the year. You're not on it for most of it. But again, I don't know. I think most people can get the same benefits, without it at all, honestly.
Yeah, I just don't really see enough benefits to them. Yeah, like if you're running multiple compounds and you throw it in just because you want to, that's just a different population and stuff that we're talking about. I've heard them say like, Masteron's so mild, just throw it in there. It's not a big deal, but it's like, from what we're trying to achieve, it's not anything to mess with.
You find my picture of John, I'll hold it up here. So I have a guy that goes to my gym. He's the IFBB 1969 Mr. America. and I have a signed picture of him. He stops in every now and then. Really nice guy. But I'm going to show you a picture of him, and this is him natural. This is no steroids whatsoever. This is in 1969. So let me find the picture.
We can do the next one.
Interesting.
Looking
Yeah.
supplement. Whitway, thanks for coming back. I remember you from the last live, so thanks for tuning in again. But supplements to combine with TRT just for overall health, omega-3 creatine. So I will say I try not to overload people with supplements or anything out the gate, but I do like creatine for most people, especially men and women both. Most people are vitamin D deficient, and so I'll do that. Most of us would benefit from mag, and so I like mag glycinate at night a lot. And then protein supplementation just to make sure you're getting close to the gram per pound a day. Those are my core, but omega-3 is going to be that next box. And I'm kind of particular about omega-3s. Like, I want it from a good brand to make sure it's not rancid. I like higher dose. I like 2 to 4 grams mixed between EPA, DHA. And again, make sure it's a good brand that's sourced well and the higher dose. And really that's my core of supplements. And then kind of from there, like, I'll let people play with one variable or so after that, or myself, that's what I do, is like, that's my core, and then I just add something from there if I want. But what are y'all's?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty. I definitely align with you on some of those, and I'm with you too. You don't want to end up with some giant bucket of things like, here are my morning supplements, here are my afternoon, a whole bookshelf full of this crap. Spending $1,000 a month. So yeah, kind of pick your battles. But yeah, most people, a little vitamin D is going to be super helpful. It has a lot of good effects, and even just the fact that you might just get less colds. Who has time for that crap? So it's pretty nice. I like to top off some vitamin D. Magnesium glycinate, again, yeah, pretty nice. Kind of turn down the volume a little bit at nighttime, keep the gut moving just a little bit. Good for the head. Nice to, especially if you're training hard and sweating, replace your mag. Real nice thing. I like to add in a little bit of zinc too. Again, kind of nice to kind of boost immunity a bit. You're going to be careful if you're getting over kind of like 50 zinc in milligrams. I think it's milligrams, right?
Yeah.
Per day.
Yeah.
You might start pushing it a little bit. You can make yourself copper deficient. So if you're pushing that high, maybe keep around like 30 per day, or you have a good multi that has some copper in there, some multi mineral, something like that. Omegas, yeah, same thing, kind of like 2 to 4 grams. It's tricky though too. With the omegas, you have to look and see how much actual, what are you actually getting there? Like, is it like you'll look at what you're actually getting out of it? The prescription stuff is really concentrated, and you'd be like, oh, it's just like DHA and EPA, and you're just getting, very, very concentrated. So you want to make sure and see what you're actually getting, right? You might be taking 6 grams of fish oil, but how much you actually, getting of the essential fatty acids that you really want. So I think those can be some pretty good ones. Creatine is an easy add-on. It might be the most studied supplement of all time by this point. Lots of good benefits for muscle, for brain. Real nice thing. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water with that. Easier to get dehydrated because it's going to give you a little bit of a higher fluid demand.
That's probably the first one I ever took, and my mom would have thought that I was just straight up doing steroids. It was like these stereotypical high school kids, like, hey, I'm going to try creatine. And, she was like, no, you're going to kill yourself.
And all the concerns about your kidneys. What are you going to do to your kidneys?
Yeah.
And then to make it worse, it could actually affect your creatinine level on your labs, and everyone's freaked out. See, I told you, you're dying. You killed your kidneys. Like, no, that's not the way this works.
Yeah.
I do not have anything to add to the supplements because you literally nailed all of my tier 1 supplements for anybody that comes here. I have a supplement protocols that we send to everybody once they sign up. I have a email that they get, and it's in tiers. And tier 1 is 4 items. It is as follows: vitamin D with K2. It is magnesium glycinate. It is fish oil. And it is creatine. That's it.
That's an important add on the K2 for sure. You want to make sure you're getting some K2 in there.
Tells it where to go. Yeah.
And so those are the only supplements that I truly say, hey, if you're going to be on it, that should be on it. And I think everybody should be on those, even if you're not on testosterone. I think they're just good for overall health in general. So that that's definitely what I recommend. I also have a tier 2 and I have a tier 3. Tier 2 is like pick and choose. There might be like certain things. These are things like B12 or B complex vitamins. So if I have somebody that has, a really high MCV or they're a drinker or something like that, we may say, hey, start a B complex vitamin. We have NAC, N-acetylcysteine. I think that's a great add-on precursor to glutathione, keeps the liver nice and clean. Again, situational use there. And then lastly is berberine, which I also like, which increases glucose upregulation. Got somebody with potential insulin resistance creeping on the steps of prediabetes. It's not a bad add-on to throw on. I have seen it improve A1C values in addition with lifestyle.
It has mild PCSK9 inhibition as well. So like it's part of our cholesterol lowering.
Wonderful. And so you'll get that from that as well. And then lastly, like tier 3 is pure performance. And that's going to be like leucine and a couple other add-ons like that are really just trying to like optimize every little angle of potential muscle growth and performance if you can. And so I send that out on everybody, but you guys already hit the big ones and why you should use them. So tier 1's what I recommend everybody for, and it's only 4. And I agree. I think you get to a point where it's like, here's my supplement soup. And you're taking like 8 million different things, and it gets to be a little ridiculous. I try to keep it like, here's 4. That's it. Go live your life.
I'm probably going to steal that from you, Josh. I'll probably work on that tomorrow or this weekend, just like a supplement tier list.
Do you want me to send you the one I did? You can use it as a template.
Yeah,
I'll send it to you.
Because especially since we have same thoughts on a lot of them, and so
I agree. Yeah, I'll send it to you. Here's this picture, by the way. So we were asking about, we had that earlier about the mask. Now this is my buddy John, and this is a picture. He signed it for me, and I have it here at my office. And this is him in 1969, natural. Now this is just off natural levels of testosterone. I will say genetically, John's a pretty gifted person, and this is what you're going to see. So here you go, and you can kind of see very clearly. Let me see if I can see around it. Yeah. I mean, dude's jacked. And this is just no test. This is natural. So when we talk about, hey, can we get into better shape without using any additional anabolics? The answer is, yeah, you can. You can absolutely do it. It just takes a little bit more work and a little bit more diet modification. But you can 100% do it. So
that's wildly impressive. Golly.
Yeah, you should see him. He's 86 years old now. So... And he still has freaking jacked biceps. He's still's got really good biceps. Great guy. I love seeing him at the gym. He stops in my office every now and then. We have a little chat. He dropped off Valentine's Day. He got chocolate for the girls. I thought that was nice.
that was nice. Golly.
So.
It's a nice touch.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, it's nice to see someone, come out of the sport with some longevity too, right?
Well, I mean, so I had a discussion with him at the here when he stopped in, and he said, at the time, so I don't know if you saw at the bottom, it says AAU Junior Mr. America 1964, IFBB Mr. America 1969, and AAU Master 1984. So he stopped. So IFBB merged with AAU in like I want to say, like the 60s, late 60s, 70s. So that's why it was IFBB Mr. America 1969. And at the time, a lot of people were moving towards anabolics. So like D-ball, for example, came out in 1958. And so a lot of people were starting to experiment with steroids around that time in the late 60s, early 70s. And he was like, I didn't hear anything good about it, and that's not what I want to get into. So he didn't. So that's why he's AAU and not IFBB, because IFBB is fine with people using anabolics, and I think AAU tries to keep everybody natural. And so he stayed in that. And, he's like, I never got involved in any of those anabolics. And And he's doing great. He's 86. He's in great shape. I just think the guy has really good genetics for muscle building. He's not super tall. A lot of the big bodybuilders were never really tall. They're about 5'8", 5'9".
Yeah, I think there was a period of time where there was a good overlap between health and bodybuilding, and you kind of saw that line kind of fade away.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of it now is just chasing size, mass. I think a lot of the problems came when recombinant growth hormone finally hit in 85. And then a lot of guys in the 90s started using it. And because that's when you really started to see like people plopping over dead at younger ages is when they started getting into that. And really, and I don't want to say it's just on GH. I think a lot of it's probably insulin use started to become more prominent around that time as well. And that's when you started seeing a lot of problems. People really pushing the limit of high dose anabolics with GH and insulin use as well. So, and that's when we started seeing more problems.
Yeah. Yeah, or guys would have an off season. They weren't on TikTok and Instagram all year long trying to stay in shape, and
Right.
you just wouldn't see them. They disappear and become normal people again, go back to their day job, and they come back and compete and do their thing. I even recently saw some old pictures of Arnold. They said, hey, here's some rare pictures of Arnold not in great shape. And he just looked, I mean, he's still a jacked dude. You still see him like, oh, it's a pretty big guy, but you don't be like, oh my God. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, we only ever see them at like peak performance, but we don't see them when they're not,
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Let's see, we had some other.
Next question: has anyone had a patient with CLL on TRT? I haven't had that specifically. I don't think it would preclude me of starting.
I don't have anybody with leukemia or lymphoma on TRT. I've got a couple guys with cancer, thyroid cancers, testicular cancer. I'm trying to think what else. Prostate cancer. Nobody with that. But again, there's nothing I would say that would preclude that. I think what people need to understand too is testosterone's a hormone, right? It doesn't work like a medication. So you already have it in your body. We're just giving you more of it. That's all. So it's not like there's really a lot of interaction there. Taking something from 300 to 1,000 isn't really necessarily going to change a whole lot of what your body uses. All the processes are already in place. So, it's not in the same boat as like, say, if you're going to take like a medication, it's not, CYP 450 enzymatically changed. It's just going in, hitting a receptor, and off it goes.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I wish, and I know it'll never happen because they're going to be too, worried about it. But I wish oncology would be a little bit more apt on putting people on it prior to, chemotherapy and stuff, so they don't just wither away to nothing. Help retain some lean tissue. Would that change outcomes? I don't know, but I feel like going into, as we've talked before, going into an illness strong, you can leave strong. Going into chemo strong, you can you're going to have a bigger amino acid savings account from the muscle mass, and
right.
So like I would be okay, and I would even be open to calling the oncologist and be like, hey, I'll manage this peripherally as long as you're on board. Like I wouldn't hide it from them or anything. I would say, hey, as long as you are okay. They are one thing to consider though, which I bet they would decline, say, no, we're not going to do it just adamantly, is that having cancer just predisposes you to thrombotic events, so blood clots and everything. Just having cancer is going to make you more apt to that. And so they're probably still under the presumption that testosterone is pro-thrombotic, and they're going to say absolutely not. Whereas I would be like, man, I think it would be worth a discussion. Depends on the oncologist, but I would be open to having that discussion.
Yeah. CLL is an interesting one too. I don't have any patients who are on it, but I have spoken to a patient considering it with CLL, and that was kind of some of the talk we had too. It's in the definition. It's a chronic, it's a chronic condition. You're more likely to die from something else pretty much with this thing, right? I mean, sometimes it can turn into a secondary thing, and that's usually not the case though, it seems. And it shouldn't be something that's fueled. It's not something that's going to be fueled by an androgen, again, unless you have some secondary thing going on. But yeah, the thrombotic event is that possible? I mean, with CLL, you end up with these crazy high white counts too, and even that can get crazy high, even though they're not really effective white cells, basically.
Right.
But there shouldn't.
They
yeah,
can
really
still
shouldn't be.
clump. Like I've had a couple in the ER, like they have my records for WBCs like 400,000.
Yeah.
And where they even have to go get like plasmapheresis, and I just dump a ton of fluids into
You have
them.
somebody with a 400,000 white count?
Yep. It's just a kind of somewhat of a flare.
Holy smokes.
But it also kind of tells you there's some room
Well-
to work here too, right? So I mean, if you're someone with a normal range CLL values that are, is going to make someone take a second look and go, whoa, is there something going on with you? But it's still not going to necessarily be a huge issue. So, yeah, I mean, probably careful approach, but getting oncology to sign off on stuff is pretty tricky for sure. They're not super keen on it.
Yeah, and it depends on the oncologist, and so it would be worth a discussion. It may them just laugh at me or whatever, but I would be open to the discussion.
Yeah, but I mean, they're also, it's all about quality of life too. So if you sat them down and got them past the initial shock of you even asking about it, and you say, hey, no, we're talking about quality of life here, man. Isn't that what you do? You might flip them, right? Or you can shop around and find an oncologist who's actually on TRT themselves, and is probably a more likely person to be on board with it, right? It's like finding a urologist or an endocrinologist or a PCP who's taking TRT themselves are more likely to be to help you out with it. So it's an interesting one. Good luck with it, man.
Do you guys
you
have
kinda-
a record book in the ER, Mason?
So we never had one. Like I've seen some where like their whiteboard in the break room has all of this stuff.
Okay.
And we did it for a little bit, but then they told us we had to take it down. It was like there's no patient identifiers.
Right,
but-
right. So we had one. We had a book.
Really?
Yeah, and so I have I have a patient with the lowest platelets on record, and so I went to put it in the book, and like I flipped to the page that said platelets, and so the patient I had platelets were 0, so I put 0, and then I drew a line right next to it, and I put beat that.
Right. Yeah. I was about to say, to make the book, it's going to have to be less than 5.
Yeah.
'cause
It was 0. The guy had thrombocytopenia from augmentin. He had an allergic reaction to it, killed all his platelets.
Damn.
Yeah, weird.
Wow.
He came in, he was all bruised. He had like bruises all over his body. And we were like, what in the world? We did some blood, and sure enough, he had no platelets. They were gone. So like borderline, like kind of DIC-ish, which you don't see in men. But it was really weird.
What's the best blood alcohol? That's always you always take bets, like,
Yep.
what's this guy going to be?
I got one for you.
Yeah.
Greater than 1.
So what does that translate? Like we were doing.
We don't even
Does
know.
that mean like over 1,000?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So this
Is
is
the
an interesting
accuracy-
one. Greater than 1. Because the normal blood alcohol content's like, and the legal limit in Pennsylvania is 0.08. Well, actually, I think it's legal limit everywhere. 0.08, right? 0.08.
Yeah. So like blood would be 80.
Yeah, exactly. So then, or like 8% or something like that. We'd have people come in functional 0.25, which is like blitzed. Like I'd be completely probably hammered at that point. Functional, like nothing. We used to have one person to come in at 0.4.
Yeah, and they live there.
They
which
live there.
I mean that would be, I would be in the ER, probably close to be intubated. But these dudes are like walking with it.
So we had one greater than 1 because our lab cuts off like at that, because like nobody's that high ever, right?
No,
And it
I
said
think mine's
greater.
like 580.
So this is an interesting situation. It was a frequent flyer. It was a young woman. She was probably like 23, 24, 25, somewhere around there. Psych patient, okay? And she would drink hand sanitizer. Okay? Like,
We had one of those. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
nasty.
so she came in, drank hand sanitizer. We had to we dumped fluids in her, watched her, and I think she went inpatient psych for like a little bit, got released, drank hand sanitizer again, came back. It was like a frequent flyer thing for a couple weeks, right?
How
And I
is this
remember-
the same story everywhere? Like,
I
it's
know,
so crazy how
It's literally
this
the same
is.
thing everywhere.
It goes in like every town all these different ER providers, they have a hand sanitizer patient.
Yeah,
You know, it's like,
everybody's got one.
yeah.
So this is ours. And so like she gets back to the ER. I don't have her this day. And somebody else is watching her. She's, right across from the charge nurse, eyes on, things open, and they're going to send her to outpatient psych somewhere else. And blood alcohol by now is back to normal. She's been in the ER for over a day waiting for placement, but nowhere would take her. And we're waiting for this outpatient center to come get her. And they're coming this day. And I'm on my shift. I worked 11 to 11 this shift. So 11 in the morning to 11 at night. And I remember she came out. I saw her walk over because I had the room right beside her. Okay, but she wasn't my patient. It wasn't assigned to that room. And I saw her walk over, and she was talking to the charge nurse about something. I think she asked her for like a crossword puzzle or something. She's been in the room for a while, and they're like, sure, fine. So she got a crossword puzzle and a pen, and then went back in the room. And then it was busy, so nobody was really, and she had been there for a day, so she kind of fell through the cracks. She pulled the thing, the curtain to the room, and then we had the hand sanitizers on the wall that you would stick your hand under, and it would like auto dispense, right? She jammed it in the top, opened the top of the dispenser, got it open, and then jammed the pen into like this giant, like half-gallon thing of hand sanitizer. Purell is what it was. But it was the more liquidy stuff, and it's like 90% alcohol, and chugs the whole thing.
Oh,
Okay?
man.
Like the whole thing, like empty. And the nurse that had her was like walking by and was like, why is this like curtain pole is supposed to be open? Like opens it up, and she's in the bed like foaming at the mouth, like seizing. And she's like, holy shit, hits the code button. And we get there and like rapid sequence intubation, whole 9 yards, because like she's like going bananas. And then they drew a blood alcohol on her, and they found the container on the floor and greater than 1. And she actually, I didn't realize this, when you have that high alcohol concentration, it actually starts to displace the oxygen on hemoglobin. So you can run the ventilator at like 100% FiO2, and it doesn't do shit. Like
Did they do dialysis?
No, thankfully we were able to keep it okay. But like if it went any further, we probably would have had to send her like immediate something like dialysis or, we just started dumping fluids and going from there. But yeah, I was like, holy shit, greater than 1.
Wow. That's
So
impressive.
That's crazy.
good
In the
times.
in the background here, I tried to fire up my TikTok again. So if you guys, as you're sitting there, just see what happens. If it goes haywire, I'll abort immediately. But I'm just curious as we're sitting too.
Yeah.
But we can look at these other questions here too. Let's see. Just jumped on here. 54. Been on TRT for about 2 years. 150 milligrams a week. Total stays around 1100. Free around 35. Thyroid is good, and all of the blood work looks. And let's see. Thyroid is good, and all of the blood work looks. And I still struggle with low energy and motivation. I think I'm reading that right here. Okay, so
Yeah.
54.
I'm 6'1", 230, not fat. Yeah, this was, the topic of our last live,
Yep.
the entirety of it. It's like, what else is on the differential to troubleshoot this guy? And so one, what does thyroid is good mean? Does that need
Right,
to be
exactly. Yeah, you need more detail. You can't just leave it like that. My diet is good, my training is good, my thyroid is good, and someone probably told you it's good. But let's see what. Let's see what
where's
that
the
means.
thyroid? And then it's like, all right, well, maybe we should check ferritin. Are you donating blood? And sleep apnea. Do we need to get a sleep study? Do you snore real loud? Those are the thing. It's been on testosterone for 2 years. It's a free around 35, so that's good. Sometimes it's like, maybe try going down a little bit, see if that does anything, but it's really just diving deeper into overall lifestyle and a little bit better or a different look to the labs and sleep apnea.
Yeah, energy is energy like we talked about last time is a real tricky one. Yeah, what's your sleep look like? Do you have some sleep apnea? How's your dosing and frequency? Sometimes adjusting that kind of stuff can do it. But a look at the thyroid's always a good idea too. That kind of gets a lot of guys back in line.
Just overall nervous system regulation, like are you just under immense pressure all
Sure.
the time?
Yeah, wired and tired.
Yep.
Wired and tired. I like that.
Yeah, it gets a lot of people going. And for some people too, with you start adding thyroid to that too, and it's not a great deal either. Maybe they'll feel good for a short period of time, then it's just part of their day with that wired and tired. You have to get the rest of your things back in line, and then the thyroid can kind of start working there.
I'm going to prescribe a vacation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what you need.
That's what I'm
to do.
prescribing.
Well, that's an interesting diagnostic, though, too. You talk to people too, like, hey, well, do you feel like that all week long? How about on the weekend? No, I have a couple of days a week I feel good. Are those days Saturday and Sunday? Are those your days off? Or yeah, if you took a trip, do you feel better on vacation? Like, actually, I kind of do. Or I haven't had a vacation in 9 years. Like, well, maybe that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot to the energy piece of it, no doubt. Did you, I sent Mason, I saw you on there and I sent you an invite on the TikTok.
Okay.
And then Josh, I could see you there as a guest. Is there a way to request the,
There we go. Next question. Someone with a very low SHBG is test cream preferable over injections? Is there any way of increasing SHBG? That's a good question.
I wouldn't say, so this question, I'm going to answer it very differently probably than how he asked. I wouldn't say test cream is preferable over injection. What really makes one preferable over the other is if you can comply with its use. Really, that's really what is the big thing. Test cream works fine. It works great. Injections work good too. I think injections are more controllable than cream in terms of what you can give yourself, and you can get into a little bit more micro management, essentially with an injectable versus a topical. But topicals work great. The big thing that we have with topicals is we do a twice-a-day application here, and it doesn't mean you have to do it. You could still do one time a day, but if you get better coverage with twice a day because cream has about a 14-hour half-life. And we get guys that have kids, so transference is always an issue, to think. And granted, the risk of that transference may be extremely low, but they just kind of don't want it looming over their head. And the other thing is they don't want to have to mess with the cream twice a day. Maybe they want to just do, 2 or 3 shots a week and then just be done. So a lot of it just gets down to, does it suit your lifestyle or not, versus the one versus the other. So I have a lot of older men that do cream because they're retired, they're regimented, they don't have kids in the house. Cream actually works better for men with ED than injectables do, believe it or not. So if you get an older man with erectile dysfunction, cream is actually preferable in that scenario than an injectable would be. But there's really no one better than the other. Actually, I think cream works pretty damn good, to be honest with you. It's just, its case use basis is kind of a little nuanced, and I think that's why just most people move to injections versus the topicals. So in terms of increasing SHBG, I'll let these other guys answer that, but androgens are going to decrease your SHBG. So I'll let Mason or Mike let you know what you can do to increase your SHBG.
Yeah, from increasing on my end it depends on why it's low. Sometimes I think guys have a genetically set low SHBG. Sometimes it's because you have just poor metabolic health, and sometimes in improving just overall metabolic health, cutting out carbs, processed foods, simple sugars, sometimes will increase it a bit, but I've never really had anybody go from SHBG of 10 to 40 unless it's like maybe exogenous estradiol or something, but like just naturally kind of going up while on testosterone, I haven't really seen it move too much. I agree with the test cream. I think it's a viable option.
100%.
We have a lot of guys that do really well. We have the same experience. I think it just increases DHT a little bit better than injections, and the pelvis is full of DHT receptors, and so that direct application to the scrotum get good results. And sometimes these older guys will report a lot better brain fog improvement. And so big fan of cream, but it's hard to comply with because I'm the same way. I like it. It lasts about 15 hours. So 2 clicks a day is going to be pretty, or doing clicks at 2 different times a day is going to be really good at steady state levels. And so I like that. But I have guys who do their 2 clicks in the morning and that's all they do, and they like it.
Yeah.
They don't need the afternoon or night ones. The night ones, sometimes you have to do a little earlier in the day because I've had it be stimulating a little bit to guys.
Right.
And so doing a little like afternoon instead of night is a little bit more desirable. And then I have guys that inject every day. They like it, and it like, but as far as like manipulating SHBG, nothing. You could try carnivore if you wanted to move the number, but I'm not too big on like adjusting, like trying to adjust the number. I'm just more big on figuring out the protocol that works with what you have, and wherever that lands, your SHBG is fine.
Yeah, I'm with you there too. Yeah, play the SHBG where it lies. If you have things that you can work on and make yourself healthier, that might improve your SHBG, unless you're someone, again, is just kind of genetically there. So if you're someone who has some insulin resistance, or you're obese, you have some, and obese is a moving target too, right? I mean, what do we consider obese by just medical standards versus what do we want to see here, right? I'm talking about, I don't want your, I don't really want to see your waist over over 35 inches. I think that's pushing it. If that's the case and your SHBG is low, work on getting leaner. Yeah, so work on getting leaner, work on your cardio a little bit. That could kind of get you in the right direction a bit on the on the SHBG. But again, yeah, frequent injections like daily injections or cream will both work really good for it. And some guys do love the cream. They even call. I have some guys they call like their ball coffee. Like, man, I get that burst in the morning. I don't even drink a cup of coffee. I smear on my coffee now. I'm not, I'm taking it in the form of TRT. And for some of them, it works so good too that you're talking about, multiple doses twice per day. Some of them either skip their second dose, or they make sure they take it early afternoon, or maybe it's like 2 clicks in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. So they don't get quite as big a kick, but it's kind of like, hey, after lunch kick, boom, a little extra ball coffee, and there you go.
That's funny.
Yeah, the transference thing is interesting too. I haven't heard. Have you heard or seen any actual cases? I think it's more like a concern, and like, hey, just be worried and be careful.
It's a concern, and there was a case that got reported in Sweden where a dad was on testosterone gel and actually had his newborn and was doing like skin to skin therapy, and it was a girl, and the baby girl started to virilize a little bit and actually started to grow like a little. The clitoris started to turn into like a little penis. It started to grow out. And like they noticed that and they're like, what the hell's going on? And then they took the baby in, and the dad didn't even think about it. And then they're like, oh my gosh. And here it turns out there was some transference for that. And so they obviously stopped that, and baby was fine. So, but that one was actually reported. That was actually fairly recent, within like the past couple of years. And so, it can happen. I've had anecdotally through the grapevine, have had people that, like their wives will be doing their laundry or whatever, and they start to notice like a couple changes after that, and hear some of that cream gets on their clothing and might be getting on their wife during like laundry, and they don't really think anything about it. And so I've had some wives that are like, why am I growing more facial hair? That's because of the transference. So, yeah, and you got to think too, a male's cream that we're using is a 20%, whereas a female is usually a 2%. So the concentration gradient of that testosterone is just a lot higher. So I think it's a real thing, but I think the risk of it is inherently low.
Yeah, especially like I tell my guys too, hey, one of the reasons we put it on the scrotum is not only because it, you get good absorption and you get more bang for your buck and it just seems to work better, is it's a safe place. I mean, you know who's down there, you know when they're going to be there, right?
Right.
You're not doing skin-to-skin contact with your baby on your, on your scrotum. There you go, problem solved.
You
Or,
hope not.
you're right, there's a whole different report, happening there. But yeah, or even even with a spouse though too. I mean, you can wipe it off if it's you just put it on and it's you guys are ready to go. Just wipe it off with a wet towel and you should be pretty good. So, but yeah, it's a personal preference for sure with the cream.
So the other thing I want to say about SHBG is sometimes you have to figure out what's keeping it low. So insulin suppresses SHBG. So we asked a question about how to lower your SHBG because his is too high. I want to let you know here too, just because you lower your SHBG, if you're on testosterone, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to really change anything. Your total it will be relative to your binding protein. So everybody thinks like, well, if I have 1,000 testosterone and my SHBG is 40 and I lower my sex hormone binding globulin to let's say 20, my free T will be higher. You are correct if your testosterone will stay 1,000. But if your testosterone's 1,000 and you lower your SHBG from 40 to 20, your total testosterone is not going to stay 1,000. It's going to come down in proportion with your sex hormone binding globulin. 97 to 98% of your total testosterone's value calculated is directly tied to your sex hormone binding globulin value. So wherever that moves, the other one moves with it. They're like sliders. You don't get to have your cake and eat it too. You will move in tandem with the other. So, moving one down is inherently going to suck the other one down. And oftentimes, while you might slightly increase the ratio of your free T, it's not going to be perpetual or anything meaningful that a lot of people like to think that it is. So when you see people on TikTok saying like, hey, take boron or do this to lower your sex hormone binding globulin, of which there's no real good study that shows that. But let's say it magically did lower SHBG big time. And then what's going to happen is it just moves it down, but then your androgen also moves down with it. So then your free T ends up being roughly the same as what it was before. So the way to fix that, the way to really get separation is to use an androgen. That's the only true way you can actually create separation between the two.
Yeah, it's about the only time that I'll do 200 milligrams once a week for a little bit. Like I'll purposely do that just
to drive it down.
See if it'll drive it down a little bit, if I care.
Sure.
Or if they care.
Or just tell them to go eat like a bunch of junk food for a week.
Well, because the flip side is people with high SHBG is like, what is your diet and exercise look like? Like, I'm training CrossFit and I'm thinking about that. I'm dabbling in some endurance stuff and I'm eating, low carb or no carb keto carnivore. It's like, well, we can get that SHBG down then a little bit too. We could work a bit there for sure. Hey, folks on TikTok, throw a message up there if things sound and look good or if there's something weird going on, so we could tune it better last time. Thanks, guys.
I think there's only two people in the.
You're not
getting. Is it only us out there? On there?
It might be.
That's even funnier then. I love it. Awesome. I'm not getting that echo. I'm not getting that echo anymore. I think the problem is I have a Mac here, and my iPhone is connected to the Mac, so I started screwing with the volume.
Okay.
And that affected I think I turned up the volume on YouTube on here. It was a whole thing. Like Grandpa over here screwing with technology. Good stuff.
Maybe next time we do this, you'll actually be able to integrate it into all of them at once. That'd be interesting.
I should have flipped the switch. Last time we did it, I had it on Facebook too. That I can make happen pretty easy. I just forgot to turn it on this time.
Okay.
That's actually pretty easy. So, but yeah, we'll see. We'll mess with it and see. We'll have to loop Evan in on this to get some tech advice. Let's see. There's a question here. Oh, someone asked about raising SHBG. What else we have here?
It's lowering. We did raising and lowering. Next one is, if I'm starting at 150 a week, this is from Smoking Tumbleweed. If I'm 150 a week, should I be overly concerned about long-term effects if I decide to stop after 12 weeks or so?
So do 150 for 12 weeks, like try to run a light steroid cycle and then just stop? Is that what I'm seeing there?
Yeah, he does a follow up. If I'm starting at 150 a week, should I? Oh no, he just kind of did it again. If I long term effects if he decides to stop after 12 weeks, and should I take a HCG? So I mean, this is kind of a tough one. You know, like this is not one I've had guys come and just be like, I just want to test the waters, see how I feel, and then I'm going to be off of it. And it's like, do you want to mess with it for that little bit? Because I think the the outcome of that is minimal to none. It depends on where you're starting too. You know, if you're starting with a 200 total testosterone, a free testosterone of 6, you know, it's like you're going to go back to that. Why tease yourself for a little bit and just plan to be on it for longer? But it's hard. That's a hard one to manage, to be honest.
Yeah, I wouldn't want you to have that as one of your top options on how you're going to treat the therapy, right? I think the short answer is you'll probably be fine. It'll probably go back to where it was. You're probably going to go back to feeling just as crappy as you did before, and then what? But also 12 weeks. I don't think is long enough to really give it a good go. You might have just figured out how you're living with the dose you tried, and then you might need some tinkering to see. I mean, I have lots of guys who nail it right out of the gate. They're 3 months in, like, sweet, this is it. And then we're cruising it. You know, you're at 150. They're there for 5 years, and we're on autopilot, easy customer. Then there's some guys who need a couple of volleys to get it straight, and we're doing those volleys in, at least 8-week chunks to let the blood levels come up and give you some time to live with it. More, sometimes even more than that. So you're talking like 3 months at a time, maybe 2 or 3 volleys. So 12 weeks. I mean, I think you should really, if you're going to dipping your toe in should look more like a year than 12 weeks, I think.
Or 6 months at a minimum, and then you could, it's not bad to have an exit plan, like if you're just worried, and HCG could be an option to bring on once you're planning on coming off. And then a SERM with it is typically how I'll restart a guy. It's just tough. It depends on your starting point and why you're even wanting to start. Is it just purely aesthetic reasons? At that point, it's like just dial in your training a little better, spend the money on a trainer or better nutrition than testosterone. And
yeah, I think the yo-yo of doing 12-week cycles and trying to come off and recover, you're just going to lose it. You're going to feel like crap in the process. Definitely not worth that. But if it's more a matter of, hey, I want to try this out and I'm worried about, what if after 3 months I don't like it? Yeah, you can back out of it. And I would think if you're on HCG, it's going to make it a little, the transition off is going to be a little bit easier because you left like Josh liked to say, you left the tap on a little bit, so you have a little bit of stimulation already, so you might be a little bit easier. But yeah, let us know a little more what your goals are with it, if it's just to kind of try it out or what you're thinking. Let's see. Oh, it's just a follow-up on the CLL. 68 years old, 6 feet, 175, 15% body fat, CLL stage 0, no meds, watch and wait, ride dirt bike, pickleball, golf, can't recover like before, and decreasing muscle and strength, borderline hemoglobin hematocrit, low RBC, platelets, free T, 603.
He meant to say total T, 603. His SHBG is 81, and his free is 6.
Yeah, so that would be an easy.
That'd be an easy.
Especially if everything else is in line, be an easy start.
Yep. Where are you located, Todd? See if we get an answer there.
Yeah, you asked at 7:51, so you may have already skedaddled.
Let's see what else we got here. Oh, okay. I see the rest of his down there too. Oh, my YouTube is jumping around here. You guys see the next question?
It was creams give me very good numbers, but with low SHBG, I get high peaks and troughs.
When you say that, is like the way you feel it, or when you're actually testing it? Because high peaks and troughs are kind of, that's kind of the way it goes with cream, right? That's what you're gonna see. But do you feel bad, or you actually feel good? Because that's the symptom resolution is king. So how you feel is really really the way to go. Some people are shocked. We'll see posts about that too, or someone who's not used to prescribing creams will check a level, and someone checked it at a peak, and they freak out, like, "Oh my God, you're going to overdose." So this is call 911. I don't know what to do, but that's kind of what you're looking for. You want to see how you absorb it, and then if you check it at a trough, yeah, you're going to be pretty darn low. So
Yeah, that's one of the things, it's like my front office staff, is just pretty adamant on not, I lost Josh for a second, about not drawing labs if they injected that day, just because it's going to be so high. But it's the opposite for cream. I want cream to check. I want to check a peak with a cream. I like troughs on injections, and so sometimes it's taken us a little bit to dial in our making sure we're drawing them okay.
yeah, and they could all be useful numbers if you extrapolate a little bit too, right? Even with an injection, if you've had a bunch of volleys and you see your numbers are always the same, you just want to check just out of curiosity to see what the peak is. Nothing wrong with that. I mean,
Yeah.
except for the guy who has to chart the number and be comfortable, writing down that number. But you're right to say, hey, this is what the troughs typically were. We checked the peak this time. Not a big deal. But yeah, I can see that, especially if someone's new and you're dialing something in, a new dose. Yeah, you want to be comparing apples to apples, right? If you're not getting that trough on an injection.
Yeah, another thing with the peak, if you are doing a trough, like, because I've had guys also not apply their cream that day or the night before, and they're like, "Man, this cream's not working. My testosterone level's 200." And it's like, well, it just doesn't last very long, so we want you to be applying it so we can see what it looks like.
Yeah. Oh, Sean says he came back to YouTube from TikTok. Was it not so great over there? Bad was it bad audio, or tell us what was happening there, Sean? Appreciate you, man.
And Todd, aren't y'all both in Nevada?
I'm not. Josh, you're in Nevada though, right?
I sure am.
Oh, I think we might have lost your audio, Josh.
Oh no.
Oh yeah,
It just sounds real I just hear you.
you're in a tunnel.
Yeah, I think your mic maybe. You step on a cord or something? Oh man. The suspense is killing us. Josh is in Nevada. I'm gonna he sees patients in Nevada.
Can you hear me now? Am I back?
No, it's
No.
still. I mean, we can hear you, but it's not coming through your mic.
Yeah.
It's coming.
So my mic, so I'll be right back. I'm gonna leave and come back.
All right, gotcha.
Give me 1 second.
All right, cool. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, it's your comment there, Mason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Josh. Yeah, he's in Vegas. We just talked about it not too long ago. Or I'm sorry, he's
How about
licensed
now?
in Nevada.
Am I
There
back?
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
back
I
with
don't
it.
know what it is. I have an audio mixer that is attached to my mic here, and it just shut off for some rando reason.
Huh.
Like, I went over and I'm like, did it die? And I turned it on and it works. And I'm like, what the frick? That was bizarre.
Huh.
So, at any rate, I am in Nevada. I have several patients in Nevada, actually. And so, yeah, you just give us a holler. We will reach out to you on Monday because we are closed on Fridays. So
Yeah, and
you guys are closed on Fridays, huh?
we do Monday through Thursday. We do 9-hour days. So I'm open from 8 to 5, Monday through Wednesday. This is Eastern time zone. And then Thursdays, we're open from 11 to 8. So that's our late day.
Nice.
And that helps us that's why I'm here right now. I'm actually at my office because we catch all of our late clients on Thursdays. And then we're closed on Fridays. So I did that on purpose. I wanted a 3-day work week or 3-day weekend.
No, that's
So,
great. Smart.
Well, I worked 410s when I worked in the hospital, and I really liked that. It was a good quality of life. So I kept it. And yeah.
Yeah, Todd. Josh can see you from remotely. He's licensed in Nevada, and whenever we say free as 6, we're talking about changing the the decimal point. So like where typically are talked about in nanograms per deciliter, and so yours is 6.6. Whenever we're just kind of converting that. Why is SHBG so high at 81? And its relationship with the other T numbers. So I kind of describe it typically as like, it's a transport protein, and testosterone binds to it pretty tightly. So it's basically inactive. The testosterone that is on the SHBG is inactive. And I kind of use total testosterone as like a bank account, whereas free testosterone is more of like the allowance you get to spend on it. And so, so if you have $1 million in the bank and you have a free testosterone of, say, 5, it's like getting $50 from your $1 million to spend. And, and so it's just inactive overall. And does that, sometimes we kind of like we talked about, the highest HPGs can be from that you're just not eating enough carbs. Some can be from just genetically set high. I've uncovered some liver stuff for some guys,
Sure.
Mild cirrhosis. I've seen it high in drinkers and that kind of stuff.
Alcoholics. I definitely have had high SHBG values in people with alcohol. 120 was my most recent one.
Wow, that is
he was
wild.
He was cooking. We got him down to a pretty good value now, so I'm pretty happy where he's at.
Did he cut back on alcohol at all, or?
Yeah, he's pretty much stopped completely at this point.
Nice.
So, yeah, our SHBG now is after 10 weeks. He did his follow-up like 2 weeks ago. So I have like 8 million tabs open. So I'm like, where is this at? I'll tell you what it is now. So introducing test, brought it down. It is...
Yeah, it's interesting with the liver too, because you can see it flip too if you get into some more advanced stuff too, right? You could have it a high SHBG with some early liver stuff, and then you get someone who's actually cirrhotic, and it could flip the other way, and now you have a low SHBG. So SHBG is an interesting thing, because sometimes it can be a sign of good health, sometimes it can be a sign of not good health, but in all cases, low is not a great thing.
No, low. I'd much rather have high than low. High is much easier to manage.
And one of the things, so this was something I was discussing, and I don't know the answer, and so maybe I'll have a little bit more. What I do see some guys that seem to be genetically low, or some that I just can't get up, and this is myself included, were guys that have pretty poor testosterones to begin with. And so I wonder for myself, is that something that like my body was trying to not hang on to it to give me a sprinkle of the testosterone that I had, and I've seen that with the lower ones, or is it just that I was not metabolically healthy? It's like I was never pre-diabetic or diabetic, but I was way overstressed, worked night shift in the ER, was 40, 50 pounds overweight, and I think all of that drove my testosterone low. But with my SHBG, despite being a completely different person than what I was, 4 years ago, has not changed much. And so I don't know if that just kind of put it down a path where it's set, or if I was just set there forever. What do you think?
Yeah, it's not a contest, but what is your SHBG?
The highest it's ever been is like 18. Like, it's not single digits, but
yeah, that sucks, man. Mine's 35.
Yeah, just rub it in my face.
Mine's 20. It hangs between 18 and 23. Like but you want to know why, Mason? It's because Mike's older than we are. Let's
there you go. The hepatic intrinsic factor is kicked in.
That's it. So
That's it. Although I have 10 years of data where it's been, well, crap, I guess I was old 10 years ago too. So I don't have a good case here. You're right. That's probably it. Yeah. So yeah, it does creep up with age, and that's a big thing that sometimes gets missed by a lot of providers, really, too, right? You check just the total testosterone, your SHBG is going up just with age, and now your total testosterone looks basically the same, but your free is falling in the background, and no one ever looks, and they tell you, hey, your testosterone is the same as it was 10 years ago, but it's not, because your free is not, and free is free is what it's all about. That's an important point. But yeah, man, you guys sure put me in my place on that one. I'm getting old here. But still, it's pretty good for an old guy, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, so I just listen to this. Okay, I just got a testosterone labs back. This is on a 77-year-old male. You ready for this one? Total testosterone 146, SHBG 50, luteinizing hormone 49.
Whoa.
Wow.
So his brain is just screaming at his testicles. Like, you guys, do you have anything?
Anything,
please.
I know this person very well, so I was like, get in here and let's get some stuff done. And I suspected that this was the case, and I'm glad I was right.
Wow.
So we're gonna.
Could you actually hear it? You're sitting there. If you let it get quiet in the office, you could hear the screaming.
It was obvious. It was so obvious. The writing was on the wall. There's a medical history there. I know the whole story, so it's like I'm like, come on. Like I already know what this is going to be. I was curious what the LH was going to be. I knew we were going to be low T, but I didn't know the LH was going to be 49. I thought it was going to be like 12 or 13 or 14. You know, not 50. That's actually like, holy smokes.
Yeah. Interesting.
G. Hopkins, thoughts on non-symptomatic high estradiol and TRT? Is there a number that scares you for any reason? It's like, it's a great question. It's one that we deal with every day. And you hit it on the point, but even if you would have said symptomatic high estradiol, it wouldn't have changed anything. But no, there's not really a number that scares me for any reason in terms of estradiol, because I don't check it. But that's not a cop-out. It's just you just don't need to check it either. You need to get a better protocol or clean up some things lifestyle-wise if you were symptomatic.
Right. Yeah, same. No number. I mean, I checked mine a few months ago just for the sake of doing it, just for a teaching point. And mine was, ultra sensitive estradiol was 104. It's pretty high out of range. I think the range on Sonora Quest was like, wanted it to be less than 30, something like that. So I called 911. No. There's nothing to do. I didn't notice. I didn't notice anything different. I know I don't have any gyno. I'm not crying at Lifetime or even seeking out to watch Lifetime or buying shoes or any of that junk.
No.
So yeah, the estradiol number, just don't even worry about it. And then whoever this Joshua guy is who gave the advice to don't even check it, good advice. Good advice.
I didn't realize I was under the wrong account. I was like, wait, why is it coming as this? So
I was wondering if it was you or not.
It was
funny because
you're
I was
undercover.
like, yeah,
undercover account.
Yeah.
Well, I wish there was at least something funnier. That would have been really funny if it was.
I should have been like,
some crazy ass username.
You will grow D cups.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually, the biggest symptom I see with estradiol numbers being high is the anxiety people get after they saw the number.
I agree.
That's really the biggest.
It's
It really
a
is.
placebo.
Yep.
Yeah, I
And-
wish it's one of those things like, it's nice for people to, it'd be great if you could ask them before they saw their labs. A lot of times people see them, they see them before we can review things. But how do you feel? I feel great. Then they see the number. They might, they flip it. But yeah, not a problem. Not a problem. I've had mine anywhere between 30 and, that 104, I think is the highest I've ever seen it. I don't check it often, but I've felt the same every time. No difference in anything really. So you're good. Yours is 130 and 150. Yeah, interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, but again, you feel good. I mean, even less reason to worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Especially if you're new to testosterone, like it surges when you go from a low to a high value very quickly. You get a pretty big increase of estradiol that gets created. So if you check it in that time frame, it always comes back like super high. But just recognizing of what the estradiol is, and then 2, the assay that's used to create it, and then how that estrogen got there. Once you understand how that is, we have a podcast on it. I think TRT Dad Unscripted podcast episode. It's within the first 5 episodes. I don't know the estrogen one off the top of my head, but go listen to that. It'll answer all your questions about estrogen in good detail.
Yeah, some good stuff on there, man. You guys are building you've built an awesome catalog.
Well, we haven't done an episode since May, and I know some people are like that are here that listen to our podcast are like, why haven't you done one? 2 things. 1, I went on vacation, so I couldn't do it because of that. And then 2, we both got sick. So last week I was, I had the froggy voice and everything, and then Matt was also sick. So we just decided like, hey. And we were supposed to, I don't know if we were going to do one this week. He's better, still kind of recovering. We're going to probably shoot for this weekend, I think, and maybe try and get one in this weekend.
What does he have going on? A yeast infection or something?
Yeah.
Oh, no. That's what he gets for calling in sick again. He's not here to defend himself, just unprovoked attacks.
Unprovoked attacks. I agree.
Oh man, no, it sucks. It's that time of year, man. There's some nasty summer bugs going around. People are getting sick. It sucks.
It's weird. We had an influx of just a summer flu where, like, I'll see our patients if they're sick, and for whatever reason, at the beginning of June, there was just an influx of everything. Even the staff all got sick and was doing terrible.
Mm-hmm. Hey, kids got out of school, and that prompted some travel. So people were going around and catching something new and bringing it back from Disney or wherever they're going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, last time Josh's voice was shot and then somehow improved the more he talked. I don't know. And now
I think that was kind of the thing that was keeping me going was that, and yeah, it was weird. Now I had talked all day, so. Mm-hmm. I had, ironically, that day was like almost all telehealth patients. And I'm like, oh my God, please. It sucked. But we got through it.
Yeah, it could be a lot of talking, for sure.
We usually chat about a lot of things. Like, the funny thing is, I'd say 70% of my visits with patients is not even related to TRT. We're just bullshitting about stuff. Like current events or vacations or,
no, especially things. After you're into it for a while, right? You've been stable and on treatment for a while. And then, we're talking more about, hey, numbers look good again. How's the diet? How's the training? Oh, we dialed that in last time too. Like, yeah, what's new, man? Which is nice. And you get to know people a little bit better too. And
I love that part of it.
And that could help with treatment down the road too. It's all
100%.
Good stuff.
Yeah. And just learning different, really trades, how they approach different businesses and stuff. A lot of really high functioning guys. And,
right. Yeah, you're learning something too. It's you're getting more out of it than they are in some of the visits. Right?
I agree.
No, it's great. It's good. Make some good group of friends that way. But yeah.
Well, the older you get, the harder it is to meet new people.
Oh yeah.
So and I don't want to say I'm like, their friend where we're going to hang out. But I genuinely care about what they're doing. I mean, obviously, I'm managing their care for this, so I want to make sure they're getting the most out of it. Then I want to know like what they're doing, in their life. We got a lot of hunters, so come around hunting time, hey, did you get the buck? Would you see anything? And they'll ask me, hey, did you get anything? We kind of share a little bit of stories on that. Guys go to a sporting event, stuff like that. We'll talk about it. I got a guy, he's moving up to Pennsylvania. And so we were talking about that. I'm like, oh, you're coming up here, huh? And he's like, yeah. And so we were chatting about that today, and never thought that was going to happen. He's like, I didn't either. So, that just real random stuff. But it's that rapport. And that's why, we were talking today about how AI might integrate itself into medicine. And it kind of already is, and how it's going to intertwine. And how they think that, radiologists and everybody's going to get affected. I don't really think it's going to affect care delivery at all. And I tell you why. I think at the end of the day, people that really value care want to actually talk to a person that can relate to them and not a machine. My wife recently called in to place a takeout order, and they had an AI person, and it did a good job, but it was really weird. And it just seems like there's no soul or heart or anything beside it. Because, like, it's taking your order, but it doesn't really understand. Like, it doesn't pick up on the tones in your voice, and it doesn't pick up on any of those things. It doesn't understand that. It just understands what it's being told. So, like, that human connection that you form at your visit, I think is very important. It really can drive compliance. It drives trust. It 100% drives trust. And that's very important. You want to take advice from somebody you can't trust, essentially. Or maybe you do. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I tell my patients, I like to check in with people at least every 3 months, whether we have something pressing or not. Even if we're not checking labs, maybe you've been on, maybe you've had the same labs for the last 10 times and that's been 3 months. We need to check it every 3 months at this point. We're still checking it. Let's see how you're doing. Maybe you have a question about something else, or let's not miss something or anything. Yeah. Even just let's check in and say hi. I think it's a huge part of it.
Got a question, David World Travel. If you've been on TRT for 8 years and have to stop due to a prostate problem, is it possible to restore natural production, or are you screwed? Why not just kind of, what is the prostate problem, and is it something that we can keep you on?
I was going to ask the same thing. What's the prostate problem? Yeah. So, because even cancer, like if it's a low, like if it's a Gleason 6, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to stop. TRT, the chances of it even doing anything are negligible. So,
yeah, and the line there is like surveillance versus treatment, right? Is that kind of where you?
Well, with the Gleason 6, you don't even treat it; you just watch it. So
that's what I'm saying, though. But if you're
yeah.
just watching, then you're probably okay for TRT treatment.
Exactly.
As part of this, yeah.
Yeah, the percentage, I don't know it off the top of my head, but the percentage that a Gleason 6 can even morph into anything else is quite low. So, and chances are, if you're already on, TRT, you're already at full receptor saturation anyway, so you don't even have to worry about that.
Oh, he says BPH.
Oh, well, there's no reason to stop it for BPH at all. There's no concrete evidence. The AUA has a position statement on that says that in severe LUTs, severe lower urinary tract symptoms, that it contraindicates testosterone. But if you actually look behind that, there's no data to support it. It's just like expert opinion. And it just has somebody that has no idea what they're doing with testosterone that says that it can make it worse. Of course. How would I know this? I don't have my pin on me, but I'm an AUA member for 5+ years. So
this is all your fault.
It probably is. Well, they didn't ask me to help write the guidelines. They're all antiquated and they're all stuck in their ways. I know they should.
They need someone to rewrite that.
They need some pragmatic people in there to really shake up the volume. But unfortunately, they won't do that. So here we are.
I saw you answer this question back here. Can mitochondrial peptides like MOTS-C and SS31 affect T numbers? And you said no.
No.
Yeah, I think maybe if you were like because of that you got healthier, and now you improved your testosterone in some way, right? You got less fat and just healthier in general. Maybe it goes up a little bit, but otherwise, I don't think it's doing a whole heck of a lot. I don't think it's doing a whole lot in that, in that way either.
David, let me ask you this question too. Do you have any lower urinary tract symptoms, or did it just tell you that your prostate was large? Because that's another thing. If you don't have any outlet obstruction, meaning if you urinate and your bladder is empty enough, I would largely say under 150 cc's post-void residual, and you're fine and you're not bothered by your symptoms, or maybe you had some and you're on Flomax and it's fine. Who cares if your prostate's enlarged? It doesn't mean anything. It literally happens to like everybody. As every man as they age, they get a quote enlarged prostate. It's not a big deal whatsoever. Everybody kind of blows it out of proportion. End of the day, it really, like BPH is a treatment of convenience. If you're bothered by it, then you do something about it. If you're not, and there's no outlet obstruction, who cares? It really doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. So.
No, that's a great point. I think it's a big worry for a lot of guys starting TRT. They already have, they have some, and that's the demographic that's going to have some prostate issues a little bit, or some, not issues, but some hypertrophy. So maybe they even do have some mild symptoms. But yeah, it shouldn't be. Definitely not a contraindication.
No. Definitely
It's
not.
kind of like the female hyposexual desire disorder. Is like, are you bothered by your lack of low libido or anything? And if the answer is no, then you don't do anything. But if it does bother you, then all right, let's try and figure it out.
Sure.
It says urinate's fine, but urinary frequency with urethral inflammation, possible prostatitis too.
Yeah, I mean that can be treated, and you don't have to come off of testosterone to treat that. That's very easily treated. Like, I can't tell you how many patients I've seen with prostatitis. It was probably the most seen diagnosis that I had when I worked in urology. It can be a pain in the prostate to treat. It's not an easy, depending on what type. Acute prostatitis is quite easier, and subacute's pretty easy too. Chronic prostatitis is not fun. It actually sucks to treat, and but it still can be treated. It just generally requires a couple different things. I tell you what works really good for chronic prostatitis, assuming that you've gone through pharmaceutical routes with no improvement. This also includes antibiotics, is pelvic floor physical therapy. I mean, it works wonders for that. So.
Yeah, Todd, that's Josh. Good job. Yeah. You got the right one. He sent submission in to you, Josh.
That is me. Yep.
Oh, nice.
So
all right.
my
You're in good
staff will
hands,
reach
man.
out to you on Monday because, like I said, we're closed tomorrow. And but I have 2 girls that work for me. They do a fantastic job. So you'll see a 240 phone number that calls you. That's us.
Nice. I like it. I like it. What else we got here?
Well, we kind of got off on the whole TRT plus stuff, but we had some good questions.
You got anything else to add there?
Not really. I mean, I like the discussion over where's the line on TRT plus. That's all.
Yeah, because if you get on the internet and ask, it's how do you feel about it? Like, oh, I feel like you don't know my CAG repeats, man. I need 750 tests a week. And then they say that's okay, and that's right. Probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, I think consenting adults should be able to do whatever they want to do with their their bodies, as long as they're informed consumers and they are adults. But that's probably over the line.
Yeah, and that's my view overall with it as well. And I mean, again, with I guess my biggest take home with it is that there's no free lunch.
Right.
You can't. There's nothing out there that is just like health promoting on top of it aside from testosterone.
Yeah, they're trade-offs. You get to a point where there's no, you can't make an argument that it's going to be good for you.
Right.
Now you're just a matter of like how bad is it going to be for you, and is it worth that trade-off? Are you going to be happy with your, with the cardiac changes you have years down the road, or your kidney issues, or whatever it might be? And you're going to think that's worth it? I don't know. Maybe, or maybe not. Maybe you look back like, it wasn't worth that. So it's that's tough. Let's see a question here. Anything besides surgery to treat gynecomastia? That's the most definitive thing.
Yeah, it's the best. If it's true gynecomastia, that's really the best. If it's like, something flared up from your protocol or anything, a lot of times smaller, more frequent injections helps. I mean, I have used tamoxifen on a short term if a guy does really flare up and has somewhat true gyno, and it's done okay. It's not my favorite, but I will do it, and I've had good success with it. But
how long is your course of tamoxifen?
So I've called them in like a couple weeks worth, or even up to a month, but they typically don't need it. Like I'll call them 30.
Like 2 weeks usually.
Yeah, I'll call them in 30 just so they have it, and get them to take it every other day. And really, they stop it way before that 30 is needed, and then they just kind of keep it on hand if it flares up. But then it's like the guys that I've done that, they probably still have some. I have not refilled it for the couple that I had to call it in for in like over a year.
Yeah.
Like I haven't needed to read.
I recently just used that as well to help somebody with that. 2 weeks took care of it. So, but that's present. That doesn't happen from the testosterone itself. The tissue doesn't grow in the presence of testosterone. It was there already. So I have to explain that to people. So
Yeah, you see it more in low testosterone than you do in
Yeah.
high, right? You see a low testosterone, probably high estrogen, probably multiple other factor environment going on. But yeah, short course of tamoxifen or what's your other one? Raloxifene. Could sometimes, but
and
both of those you're running-
clomiphene, even that.
Yeah, right. Maybe. But you running the risk of, I mean, there's a clot risk with those medications too. So not something you really want to chase. And when something significant and bothersome, save the money, get the surgery, get it from someone good. Probably seek out someone who's more on the plastic surgery side of things. So you're not just getting the thing scooped out, and now you have some bad cosmetic effect going the other way.
Yeah,
And,
because
just get it.
the plastics guys, they can make the contour right, so there's like not any dimpling, or sometimes they even build it back around it or something. Like they have good ways to do it. But I've said it before too. Like I mean, I had gyno, and then like from puberty, and then once I started testosterone, like I basically don't have it anymore.
A lot of guys, it's just fat. But some actually do have that glandular tissue that gets created. So,
Yeah, I was kind of like I was a fat kid growing up, and I had a little. Yeah, it's true. I have a follow-up story on that here too, but I had a little nodule there, and sure, it's just not there at all anymore. It's gone. It's been gone for, I don't even know. I probably noticed it maybe even it went away maybe a couple years after testosterone. So it's always just kind of there, just super small. No one would ever notice it, but yeah, that was a chubby kid. The kids on the block would, one of the nice things was real character building. They say, "Hey, you have bigger boobs than my sister." That was cool. When you're 11, I appreciated that.
I tell people like in the ER every year, and it's embarrassing now that we have a big portion of weight loss in our clinic, but I yo-yo dieted in the ER all the time, and I'd always gain it back. And I was in the ER as a nurse practitioner for 4 years, and I have 4 stretch marks like a tree trunk. If I would have kept in the ER, I would have just kept adding a stretch mark every year. And so now they're my badge of honor that I carry with me.
It's crazy.
Nice.
I had a bunch of pretty significant stretch marks from when I was a teenager. I put on a pretty good amount of weight pretty fast, like muscle, and I had some good stretch marks, and they're mostly gone. It's really
Really?
interesting. It took a while to go away. I mean, they're very faint, but not nowhere near what they were. I mean, kind of these red purple things, like crap. These
Yeah.
aren't going anywhere, but they just kind of went away. I don't know.
Well, we're kind of dying down. We're hitting about the 2-hour
2-hour mark. Yep.
Yeah,
Wanna wrap it up?
I think it's a good place to call it. Yeah, that was a good chat. Sorry about the TikTok fiasco. I don't know what
I was
happened
trying
there.
to figure. It must I see we're still in it, but people pop in and leave real quick, and I don't know if that's typical of TikTok, but I bet
It
our
is,
audio.
but usually you get a lot of questions, like people ask questions on there, but
Yeah,
there
I
hasn't
bet
been
our-
any questions. So
I bet our audio is bad. Somehow.
Probably.
Yeah, maybe.
you ended up with 1.3K likes on there, though, Mike.
Yeah, there was one guy who was kind of hammering the keyboard there.
That was me.
I saw you up there. No, that's
You
great.
just have to
That's
tap
great.
the screen. So I was just sitting here and going. "Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do."
Nice. Yeah, we'll have to figure it out. The bad thing about it was I was trying to fiddle with it, and there wasn't a good way to test it without actually going live. I
Oh,
was asking
okay.
ChatGPT, how can you do this? Like, no, just do it. It's fine. And they go, okay, here we go. And then
That's funny.
whatever that thing was happened. So I don't
Yeah,
know. Well,
we don't have the pull of like Joe Rogan yet, I guess.
yeah, I think if you have more viewers too, you can schedule it in some way too, and it pops up and whatever. I don't know. We'll mess with it and see. We'll try it again. But yeah, I think this is a pretty good episode again here. So I'll put some links for you guys down below in there again too, in case people want to find you and seek care and check out your YouTube channels and check out Josh. Matt's not with us today, but Matt and Josh have the TRT Dad Unscripted podcast. Some great info on there. Mason's YouTube channel has a ton of videos on there. Great information.
Mason
great
has a lot of
education
YouTube videos on his
Yeah,
channel.
there's
He's got a library there. I mean,
it's
you
an impressive amount of stuff.
Yeah, he does.
I'm switching. I just went and filmed 8 more of them. I bulk do them, and so I filmed 8 more, and then I said, I think this is the end of my videos. I don't have anything else to talk about.
You said it all. You reached the end.
So, but I am going to start trying to get my staff to do more.
There you go. You know what you should do is just film you on your farm doing stuff.
So it's funny you said that's going to be one of my, I was like, I'll do a, on the tractor, I'll be like, something has popped up a lot this week. This week, I've had 3 patients say their doctor is sending them to hematology for blood cancer workup for hematocrits of 53. None of them were over even 54. 53. So I was going to make a video over it, and I was going to do it on the tractor, just to have a different view of things. It's like I like going to the studio because the camera's nice and it makes me look not like a cave troll, but I'm just going to embrace my just gargoyle-ness. And
I think you should do it if you're doing stuff on the farm. Like this is like if you were like showcased your farm and you're like, hey, I'm out with the tortoises today and I'm hanging out with these guys, and then kind of do it like a Steve Irwin type thing, and like just explain like what they are and like just hang out with them a little bit and then get a couple different like camera angles of it. Dude, people would eat that up.
Oh yeah. Just throw in, really it wasn't just throw in like I'm doing all that and then but it's a testosterone or a hormone or a metabolic topic. It's like don't even really address it hardly.
Yeah.
But
be like, these guys have really slow metabolism. That's why they live over 100 years old.
Yeah. You know what? Their nervous system, they don't get worked up about nothing.
That's funny.
Yeah, you have your back turned on the rooster and he attacks you on film. That would be good. A million views.
Yeah.
That's all it is. That'd be great. So
I like it. All right. Well, hey, thanks for everyone who joined us. Thanks for all the questions, guys.
We appreciate it.
Good seeing you, and we'll have to do this again soon. Thanks, guys. It's good hanging with you again.
Absolutely. We got to get together sometime and hang out outside of this, in person.
Yeah,
make a little guys trip.
Like a
coming together.
We could meet up anywhere in the country because
I'm down for that.